All right, Indigo, go around and cut off its tail if you don't mind. And Marcus, just hit it with the hammer in the head. We're trying to stagger it. Marcus, do you know where Marcus is?
Yeah, he's over there freaking picking flowers!
Marcus! We're finding the thing! I hate pugs.
Hey everyone, welcome to GameGorgon. My name's Indigo.
And I'm Krug.
And today we're going to be talking about Dauntless, a little sneak peek of a game that Krug got me into.
Yeah, I am kind of super into this game. So here's how this is going to work. We're going to be doing this video, which is going to be a general overview of the game, kind of the background of it. And then we're going to be doing another video in a week or two that's going to be like a deep dive into the mechanics specifically. So if that's something that excites you or you think that would be helpful for you with playing the game, go ahead and check that out. The link will be in the description when we post it. First of all, Dauntless is a action online RPG, whatever the genre is called. Genres in games are getting super long now. They don't mean anything basically.
Yeah, it's like, how can we get away from saying MMO? Let's just...
Currently, it's an open beta. It's going to try and release in 2018 at some point, but we'll see how that goes. It's developed by Phoenix Labs, which is a relatively new studio, founded in 2014. This looks to be like their first game, and they're based in Toronto and San Francisco. They're relatively close to us. And Vancouver. Canada's all the same.
I mean, don't just Canada, we might need to move there.
Basically what the genre boils down to is, and I'm sorry that we're going to be doing this, because it kind of feels like a cop-out since this is almost what every single other YouTube channel is doing. It feels like Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, and if we didn't bring it up, someone in the comments would.
Be like, hey, you didn't compare it to Monster Hunter World, so we're going to embrace it.
And not only that, the people we've been playing with, every single one of them is like...
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, well, in Monster Hunter, you can do this.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay,
I get it. Just judge this game on its merits, which we're going to try and do. But that having been said, we think since Monster Hunter is a game that's out for a lot of people, first of all, and second of all is kind of the, for lack of a better term, the king of this sort of environment, next to Dark Souls, I'd say, but a lot of people would come at me and say that Dark Souls is different. Whatever. Comparing it's useful, right, for the people that have played it. So we're going to do it. Leave us alone.
Now, the concept behind the entire game is that there are these giant monsters in the world called behemoths, and they basically consume aether, and by doing that, it destroys the world. Yeah. Which is kind of weird because when you kill the monsters, you get aether.
Yeah, aether-infused things.
Yeah, and then so you're basically...
You're contributing kind of indirectly to the destruction of the world, it seems like.
Yeah.
And like, you never put aether back.
Yeah.
Although maybe just killing them releases it, like, passively. Who cares? Nobody really cares. It's about the fighting,
look,
right?
This game does not have lore, all right?
The title's free to play currently, and it's going to be supported with microtransactions. You're going to be buying currency called platinum with real money, and then using that platinum to do things in game, as opposed to the in-game currency, which are called notes. And then using the platinum, you can buy mostly cosmetic things, like you can buy dyes and like banners for yourself that don't give you like a buff; they just look cool.
And I think emotes as well.
Yeah, you can buy emotes and like animations for when you land on an island. A ton of things that have absolutely no bearing on gameplay whatsoever. But there are some things that they classify as supplies that do give you something.
Yeah.
Right? So you can get potions, and I think all of those potions you can get in-game eventually, but they also give you access to something called an airdrop token or an airstrike token. Airstrike token. That having been said, there's no PvP. And you can't buy gear, you can't buy upgrades for gear, you can't buy anything like that.
If it's making something easier, then it's basically giving you currency secondhand.
It bothers me less if there's no PvP. That having been said, I kind of want them to add PvP. And so having this there kind of like is either dashing my hopes or is potentially making a future implementation of PvP a little more difficult to swallow. I'm like, 70% they should take that out, 30% it's fine at the moment. It's in beta. Anything can change.
All right, so you're in this world. You are considered to be a slayer, which is someone that basically gets sent out to kill these giant behemoths. By doing so, you get crafting material that allows you to go back to Ramsgate and be able to craft weapons and armor as well as potions, which I believe the potions you can only... at least the ones I've seen, you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
You can only get by farming like items that you find on the map. It's not from the boss.
Join up with up to 3 other players, making your team 4 total. You can also solo if you want. You land on an island, and then you explore the island and try and find the behemoth. The behemoth is the only other living thing on the island, the only other living animal.
The only other living thing that you can attack.
That's true. Yeah, there are flowers and deer.
Yeah, rams.
But they're just decorations at this point.
Yeah, I've tried to attack them, trust me.
Same. Once you find the behemoth, you fight it.
You attack it, and it goes through a series of mechanics that it has.
Yeah.
So, for example, there is one of the first ones that you come across is something that looks like an owl bear, right?
Sure.
And it has an ability where it kind of throws like a bolt of force at you. It can flap its wings and create a tornado that goes towards you, and then it also jumps up in the air and then tries to attack you with its talons in the mix of also jumping and just swinging its wings as attacks.
Yeah.
So you, as the Slayer, has to go in, dodge these abilities while attacking it. And the interesting mechanics within it is that depending on your weapon type and depending on where you're attacking them, depends on how it affects the monster.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like the crux of it, and your goal is to kill
being
it.
tactical with your team, like what kind of weapons do we have, what kind of damage can we do, and then what is the thing that we can do to this monster that would make it easier for us to kill it? Like, do we need to cut off its tail? Do we need to break its legs? Does it have some special part that we need to destroy to prevent one of its attacks? Like, there's a ton of different variables there, and we're going to get into how to do all that stuff in the deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
For now, I think that the fighting is engaging enough to like make the game fun for me. And while the models of the monsters are sometimes reused and like reskinned in order to create another fight, I think that they're varied enough to be kind of appealing. I think the combat is fast-paced and demanding, and that's what I like. That's what I like about it.
I agree with like half of that.
Sure.
I agree that the mechanics that the monsters that are out are interesting.
Yeah.
The issue I have with them is that the fights last anywhere. Quickest fight I've done is 5 minutes. And the longest fight, it was closer to like 12 or 15 minutes.
Sure.
Right? For a single
I've been
fight,
in 20-minute fights.
Okay,
before,
so with a single boss that has like a handful of mechanics that repeat, get really boring to me, and it's just they're a sword sponge at that point. It's just like, I gotta hit. Okay, dodge this ability. And then I gotta hit.
Obligatory SpongeBob meme that denotes the passage of time in a sarcastic way.
You know, like that. That's like kind of like the part about it that I don't like. I don't know if they need to ramp down the amount of health that they have, or the amount of damage that I do needs to increase. But like,
or increase the number of mechanics,
or increase the number of mechanics. Just tightening it down, I think, is extremely beneficial.
Sure.
Across the board, that would really benefit this game.
The length is important because it's demanding you to be consistent, basically. It's saying, like, you can't lucky dodge this 3 times and get away with it. Like, you have to have this down in order to succeed, or else you're going to get hit, take a ton of damage. Your team also needs to be doing that with you. And so, like, the entire game is built around being consistently good enough to win a fight over a long period of time.
I mean, I don't know if that's true though, because at least for right now, every single player starts for free with 5 healing potions every single time they play.
Yeah.
Right? 5 healing potions, plus every single fight there is a healing location
Yep.
that has a limited number of times that the whole entire team can use it,
Correct.
but it can be used. So there's a lot of mechanics that already exist that go, okay, yeah, you f***ed up 10 times, don't worry, you can still be alive and keep going.
I think the healing is plentiful early game and not as plentiful mid game. Like, not that the amount of healing available to you changes, but it's just not enough anymore. Like, with the amount of damage you're taking and the complexity of the mechanics and like the duration of the telegraphs that the enemies have, they get much shorter, the damage gets much higher. And so what used to be 5 potions and 2 healing fountains is like plentiful, and you don't even touch the second one, becomes 4 deaths per player, and you're just reviving each other over and over again. And so you have to like manage it a lot more intelligently than you did earlier in the game. At least that was my experience. Like, it gets hard.
Sure.
Especially at points where you want to progress and you want to move on to the next behemoth. You want to hunt the stronger one, but you haven't upgraded all your stuff and you're under geared. And so you'll go into a fight and take like more than half your health and damage and realize, I need to farm like older mobs and like upgrade stuff.
That's not fun to me, at least. You know, like, I don't want to add game time just to grind. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like the issue with it, is like,
sure.
I want to be able to improve and progress and get better at the game. And then if I want to go back to old fights, it's because I thought that it was interesting or fun or exciting, or there was rare drops that it could do.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, if I get this, I have a percentage of getting a die.
Yeah.
You know, versus
that's true.
You know, versus like
something that isn't necessarily like gameplay, locking the next tier of gameplay, but locking something else.
Yeah. Oh, if I have to kill this one behemoth 5 times just so I can get enough gear pieces to do the very next boss, that I'm gonna have to do 5 times just to get enough gear to do the next boss. And so, like, that's not fun to me. That's just reusing the same content to extend the life of the game.
And a lot of the quests, to be fair, are that. They're like, kill this behemoth X number of times, or run this specific patrol X number of times. And a patrol is you go to an island and fight a random behemoth from that island. So it's basically like, hey, you've finished this content, come back and help other players, is kind of how I think about it. It's not like you need to grind this in order to progress. And I do agree that grinding isn't the most elegant or the most graceful way to extend gameplay or to like lock progress. I think like something more skill-based than that, like learn how to do this thing with this weapon better. Like the next fight it's not that it's doing more damage to you, it's that you need to have this specific thing mastered. You need to know how to jump with the hammer. But I don't think there are enough mechanics in the game to support that kind of like hyper-specific ability targeting, I guess, for progression locking. I don't know. I think it's the best they could do, given the environment of the game.
The difference between you and I in this game is that I think that this game has a ton of potential, and I just don't think it's there yet.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, head down to the comments and let us know, is this a game you're going to try out, or are you just going to wait until August and buy Monster Hunter? Make sure to hit the subscribe button. That unlocks the exclusive bell icon, and then you can head over to Twitter and talk to us about Dauntless, about Monster Hunter, about whatever, and you can do that at IndigoQT on Twitter.
To get him and to get me, I'm at QueueTimes on Twitter. You can also reach both of us at _QueueTimes on Twitter, or at Instagram. Or at QueueTimes on Instagram. At Instagram's probably owned by Instagram themselves.
Sure as hell hope so.
Sure as hell not owned by us. That having been said, we've been GameGorgon. We'll see you guys next time. Rawr.